What's up everybody, D-Man back, and the new Godzilla anime has been announced and it's already started some controversy. A brand new Godzilla anime is on the way and it is promising to bring us a very fresh perspective to the Godzilla franchise, something we have never seen before in the Godzilla space, or have we? We'll talk about it. It's not even here yet and it's already brought in its fair share of skepticism, but it's also bringing with it an enormous potential. I cannot wait to dive into it with you guys today, so let's just jump on in. Hello everybody, I'm back from vacation and I look like my dad. I was gonna wait to record this video until I was feeling better. I'm really sick right now, so if I sound weird this video, that's why, but I'm not recovering very quickly. So whatever, man. I'm gonna record this video because I want to yap about this with you guys. Is the new Godzilla anime doomed? Is it already doomed for failure? Will it go the route of the Godzilla anime trilogy? And in some ways Godzilla singular point, or will this finally be the one to break through to the mainstream, finally be the one to really please fans, or will it be just another entry in the Godzilla anime legacy that leaves people wondering who asked for this? Who wanted it? This is so different than everything that's come before. Before we fully get into it here, I want to show off some art like always. And hey, this is a brand new anime. We know absolutely nothing about it, so I can show off whatever I want. This first piece comes to us from Tom.Arts, one of my fave Godzilla artists, and this is his 4 kaiju at critical mass art, a throwback to Godzilla Unleashed. Very epic, with Mechagodzilla, Baragon, Titanosaurus, and Biollante all fighting each other. Very, very awesome. One of my favorite maps, or more memorable maps from that game anyways, the Flooded City. Just super cool, and I love seeing all the monsters in their unleashed forms or their critical mass forms. Very cool stuff. Next up, this is Mechagodzilla 3's Oxygen Destroyer artwork. So freaking cool, man. You got the Oxygen Destroyer going off, electrifying, very Godzilla vs. Destroyer, with the bones of Godzilla are in the background. You also have the bones of Serizawa down there in the foreground, and the fish from Godzilla vs. Destroyer as well. Just super, super cool stuff. I love that. I thought that was sick. Finally here, this is Yuji Kaida's Gigan. Yuji Kaida is one of the most legendary Godzilla artists, and this is just some fantastic artwork. Such a great piece here. And with that, on November 28th, very random that this didn't happen at Godzilla Festival, Toho announced a brand new Godzilla anime. Now, if you remember, I said that there were more things that Toho had to announce than just Godzilla Minus Zero before Godzilla Festival 2025. I said that I was expecting just Godzilla Minus Zero announcements, but that I happened to know of a couple other things in the works, and this is one of those other things. And so here it is. Toho officially announced worldwide release, Godzilla new anime series production confirmed. For the first time in the series' over 70-year history, a story with a boy who possesses Godzilla's power as the protagonist begins. Is that a boy human or Godzilla? And there's our first official look at the new Godzilla anime. It shows a very My Hero Academia looking character, all armored up with Godzilla's scales. He seems very humanoid, especially in the face and proportioning, and it looks like he's throwing his arms towards the camera, unleashing the atomic breath out of his hands, so it's really more of an atomic blast. He's also got Godzilla's spines on his back, all electrified. It looks like he's maybe even got a tail down there, and then Godzilla, of course, is silhouetted behind him as if he's summoning the powers of Godzilla, which makes me think Godzilla will be his own entity in this show, and this character will just be able to summon the powers of him. Either that, or it could go the route of like Godzilla died and his powers transferred to this child, and then somehow Godzilla will get resurrected through the course of the series. Of course, Toho does not like keeping Godzilla dead for long, so I could see them going that route as well. Very cool character design overall. Looks like a very, very cool animation style. This is much more in line with the typical animation styles that we're used to these days. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of My Hero Academia, a show I've never really watched, but I've seen some clips of it, and of course I've seen pictures of it. So this reminds me of that style. I'm sure maybe you guys have some better art style references that we can pull from here, but this looks very cool. Honestly, I dig the character design. He doesn't look the most unique or original or anything like that, but I really like the spines on his back. I like the hair. It's spiky. It's very cool. The blue eyes is very cool, and I wonder what he will look like generally speaking. I wonder if he will normally look like a normal human, and then when he armors up into his Godzilla state, he grows the spines and he grows the armored plating on his skin, or is this just straight up what he looks like? That would be a big departure from what I'm personally expecting, but this seems to be Godzilla going full superhero anime, so that's a big, bold new direction for the Godzilla series that I've already seen has caused a little bit of a stir in the Godzilla fandom, as people don't quite know how to feel about that. Some people are very excited about the brand new potential for us to go in a very different direction, while other people are like, this looks like it's got nothing to do with Godzilla. There's so many years of Godzilla, guys. When this anime starts coming out, it'll be like 72 years of Godzilla, maybe 71 depending on when it airs. But I'm just so happy that we live in a world where Godzilla can take risks, all right? We have over 70 years of great Godzilla stories, fantastic Godzilla movies from over the decades that really encompass all things classic Godzilla. And I really appreciate the Reiwa era for taking some big swings. I really appreciated Shin Godzilla for being a very large stylistic departure from the normal Godzilla series, also portraying a Godzilla like we've never seen before. The Godzilla anime trilogy, I absolutely adore how that is just a philosophical series with Godzilla as the storytelling vessel. I really love all of the thematic and philosophical debates and arguments and exploration going on in that show. I know it's not for everybody. I know not everybody liked the anime trilogy, but for me, it absolutely worked. Singular Point, I thought, was some of the freshest Godzilla content we've ever got. It really took a lot of classic Godzilla elements, revamped them for the modern day in such a bold, brand new, exciting way, and then also put a really great sci-fi spin on it. Again, I know that show wasn't for everybody. It really landed for me. Then Godzilla Minus One was like all things classic Godzilla, no real departures or deviations from the standard Godzilla. And so that's why I'm excited for Godzilla Minus Zero as well. I think it'll deliver on similar things. And then of course, obviously the MonsterVerse has really excelled in like hitting a lot of the Showa era beats, including going full campy silly. So I'm excited for this anime to go in a brand new direction. And I'd just be full on lying to you guys if I said this isn't an idea I've had since I was a little kid. Even as a little kid, sometimes I would pretend to be Godzilla himself. Sometimes I would pretend to be myself who could transform into Godzilla. I would a lot of the time fantasize about transforming into Godzilla. Like I could turn into him at any time. Like imagine you're Ben 10 with the Omnitrix, but you can summon any of the Godzilla kaiju and transform into them. Like that was the kind of thing I would imagine. Or what if something happened and I could grow the spines out of my back and then fire the atomic breath, but I'm still mostly in my human form, you know? I would just picture a lot of different versions of that scenario where I myself in my human form would gain the powers of Godzilla, or I could transform parts of my body into Godzilla. I think a lot of Godzilla fans can relate to that. And so personally for me, this is very exciting to see Toho officially embracing and exploring those ideas. It also makes some of my story ideas that I've written down over the years seem a little less silly. Like back in high school, I had a Godzilla idea that didn't have Godzilla in it at all, but had somebody who had the powers of Godzilla, and basically they could transform themselves into a kaiju. And it's pretty cool to see that Toho is fully embracing that and going that direction as well in official Godzilla media. If you don't like it, you've got 70 years of other Godzilla content to pick from. If you've seen it all, fantastic. If you love it all, that's great. I'm sure you'll love this. Meanwhile, I'm really excited to see a new take on Godzilla. I think that's really cool. Might not be for everybody, but I'm very excited to see new things continue to be done with the IP. It's about time that they really take some swings, and I think that's what the Reiwa era has done a great job of. Personally, I think the Heisei and Millennium series played it overly safe, so it's cool to see them taking some bigger swings in the modern age. I will say though, the whole premise already is crumbling around me. The idea that for the first time ever, we're gonna see a human protagonist with the powers of Godzilla just simply isn't true. It just isn't. And it's not even the first time this year that has happened. I have not read every Godzilla manga published. I've not read every Godzilla comic published. But you know what I'm really enjoying at the moment is the Godzilla Kai-Sei series. This is the new IDW run. I've actually only read the first 3 issues of the first series. IDW, I can't keep up with you guys. You are drowning me in Godzilla content. But the Godzilla Kai-Sei series felt so new and so fresh. It is the only Godzilla series I am currently picking up and reading issue by issue. I gotta get issue 4, and I'm waiting for the other Godzilla Kai-Sei series to come out on trade paperback so I can just read them all in one collection, because again, I simply cannot afford to keep up with IDW's output. But the Godzilla Kai-Sei series, this is the premise of it, in a way. It's a little different, but it's very similar. It's just kind of shocking to see already one of the freshest, newest pieces of Godzilla media we've gotten in a really long time. Just like Singular Point, where I felt like that was really fresh and different. This Godzilla Kai-Sei series is so new, so fresh, so different, so exciting, so gorgeously illustrated, and yet it's already being cannibalized by Toho properly. It hasn't even had a year to itself to be fresh and original before we're already treading the same ground in animation. It's very curious to me. I wonder if that was on purpose or not. I wonder if Toho was aware of what IDW was doing and was like, hey, wait, let's take some of those ideas for ourselves, or if it just happened to be parallel thinking, as I know that these Godzilla animes are in works for a long time behind the scenes before they eventually get brought to the public. So could just be, again, parallel thinking. Toho's finally allowing people to take bigger risks with Godzilla, and so they're allowing people to do things like this, and so it just happened that people like myself who have had this idea for many years are finally getting to explore that officially. But it is very curious to me. So if you don't know, the Godzilla Kai-Sei series is a new IDW line of 3 ongoing comics with more to come, I'm pretty sure. There's Godzilla, the Kai-Sei comic. There's also Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone, and then Starship Godzilla, which I have not read Escape the Dead Zone or Starship yet, but the Godzilla Kai-Sei comic already has a very similar premise, with the main character Jason Braid having the powers of Godzilla. In this series, Kai-Sei energy is what powers Godzilla, and Jason controls Kai-Sei energy, and they constantly bring up the fact that he has the power of Godzilla. Those powers are so strong he can barely control them, but he's on his way to become an anime hero. He's our anime protagonist, very anime protagonist in his introduction, and he is on his way to become a hero who can take on and potentially take down Godzilla. So very interesting to see this show already seeming to cover similar ground. Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone is also touching on similar things, where Kai-Sei energy has mutated so much of the US, and the series features this half-man, half-kaiju character called the Wanderer, who looks like a monster with the powers of a monster, but also very much features the features of a man. Again, overlapping with this new character from the anime who features kaiju-like features and human proportions and human face, the Wanderer also interacts with 2 children who have the power to body morph and control kaiju. So again, more characters that can take on features of kaiju. This isn't a brand new idea. I'm pretty sure Pacific Rim the Black does stuff like that. I never watched season 2, but they did touch on that in season 1 with Boy. It's just interesting to me that Godzilla's like overlapping the same content in the comic space and the anime space, when it's also simultaneously like the most different type of Godzilla story we've gotten pretty much ever. It's very interesting to me. I'm really hoping that they stay different, like that they have unique enough features, like if this kid is on the side of Godzilla in the new anime, that he likes Godzilla, which I actually think Jason is going to learn to like Godzilla as well. But it's just interesting to me that they're already getting similar protagonists here right out the gate. It's also interesting that the Godzilla Kai-Sei series features Godzilla with green spines, green atomic breath, which is Kai-Sei energy breath, but also Igloo Studios, who's working on the new Godzilla anime, as we'll talk about here in a second, did the Godzilla Southeast Asia promo, which also featured Godzilla with green atomic breath. Very interesting overlap there as well. I would love to speak with people involved with both series to find out what they think of each other's properties. Following this announcement, Kaiju News Outlet put together this little compilation of Godzilla's appearances in his own anime. So we've got Godzilla Earth, of course, Godzilla Ultima, and then this new character with the powers of Godzilla, summoning Godzilla's energy behind him. Very cool. Of course, that's leaving out some of the more peak Godzillas. There's Snow Godzilla, obviously, but everybody knows that the peak Godzilla in the animation format is Chibi Godzilla, who's just the best. He's fantastic. Give some respect to Chibi Godzilla. Crunchyroll reported on this new anime series, revealing that it was announced at Anime Festival Asia Singapore, which I think is very important, as this is Toho's effort to expand into Southeast Asia. I don't know what type of content is huge in Southeast Asia, but it would make sense that if they're trying to cater for that audience, that they would play into things that that audience is interested in. So if that audience is really interested in hero anime, it would make sense that they would aim a Godzilla hero anime towards that audience. But that is who this is being made for. If you, an American, want Godzilla content to be made for you, that's what the MonsterVerse is for, and whether or not it's hitting the mark is up to your opinion on the MonsterVerse. This is a new anime from Studio Orange, who worked on Godzilla Singular Point in collaboration with Thailand's Igloo Studios, who, as I stated, did the 7 Years of Godzilla, A New Roar in Southeast Asia. Now, I was aware that an upcoming Southeast Asia Godzilla project was on the horizon. In fact, that Bloomberg article that I always reference that announced Shin Godzilla 2, that Bloomberg article also revealed that a new Southeast Asia Godzilla project was in the work. I speculated that could be a new series, that could be a new anime, or I actually thought it might be a new ride featuring that modified version of Godzilla -1, but it seems to be this anime. Very cool to find that out. Toho's chief Godzilla officer Keiji Ota announced that this work is a first for the franchise, featuring a boy who possesses the power of Godzilla, and we believe it will be able to deeply portray both the fear and hope of the modern era. It definitely is the first in the Godzilla animation space, but again, come on, put some respect. The Kai-Sei series is doing a fantastic fantastic job right now, so just saying. Technically not a first for the franchise. Comic News JP also did a report which features a couple quotes from some key players here. Waki Sumitaka, who is an Orange producer, celebrates that this is a return to the franchise after Godzilla Singular Point, hoping to use all the skills and techniques they learned while working on Singular Point to create a great show. I absolutely love Singular Point, so very excited to see what lessons they learned that carry over into this new one. Singular Point also had a bit more of a focus on the human scale, human action, and in a sense, a more typical hero-styled action format with Jet Jaguar. I have no idea how to say this guy's name, but Nat Yosawa Watanabe Note. I don't know, who is the founder and CEO of Igloo, is excited to be involved with the Godzilla IP and hopes it honors the various feelings that people all over the world have about Godzilla. Speculation started to arise, and thank you very much to Kaiju Pictures for putting me onto this information, that this might be related to Gemstone's Godzilla X Teenager, uploaded on YouTube on March 20th, 2019. It is just this little animated background thing right here. This was made as part of Gemstone's Godzilla collaboration project back in 2019, which basically creators would submit their own original Godzilla works or own original works featuring Godzilla for the chance to win money and the opportunity to develop new projects with Toho and produce and receive management contracts at Alphabo. Judges included Shinji Higuchi of Shin Godzilla, and the most famous winner of this is arguably G vs. G, the 2019 fan film by Takuya Yanishi, uploaded again on March 20th, 2019. Yanishi wound up winning one of 6 grand prizes, and as part of his winnings, Yanishi returned to direct Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex and Godzilla vs. Megalon, the short films which premiered at Godzilla Festival. The main winner seems to have been Atelier Kogenemushi, who created Gojiban. Gojiban was a nearly 10-minute long segment show, which was produced as part of this Gemstone competition, and of course has gone on to become an ongoing television series in Japan and the main feature of Godzilla Festival. This one, Godzilla X Teenager, has illustrations by Takuya Hagiwara with composites by Yuri Yoshioka. This is a proof of concept for what they wanted to become a fighting action game with the theme of Godzilla X Teenager. The description stated, "The main character is one of the youngest people who can summon the ferocity and fighting spirit hidden within their heart in the form of a monster. He engages in the fiercest battles with young people who also have monsters living in their hearts," which I think sounds like the basis for a fantastic anime of young people, probably in a school of some sorts. This one dude's got the power of Godzilla. Seems like they maybe gender swapped. The character was going to have the power of Godzilla, assuming this is the evolution of that project, fighting other people, other characters who have different powers of different iconic Toho kaiju. That just sounds like a real knock it out of the park type hero anime. It sounds very traditional to the hero anime type format, and I could totally see that being the direction we're going here. The goal of this project was to capture the fact that monsters are strong and cool, but also dangerous, uncontrollable, and sad beings that no one can fully understand. They combine this with the unstable hearts of young people to create an emotional core, and to be honest with you, while this does sound like a very cool fighting game, and maybe it could eventually become one of those, that'd be very exciting, it also sounds like the basis for a fantastic hero anime, and that's what I think it's being developed into, personally. Maybe I'm wrong here, maybe we're all wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. This short was made as a one-shot, which was supposed to be a cinematic opening the game, but seeing as though I only know of 2 of the winners of that Gemstone Godzilla project, and there's supposedly 6 out there, it's possible that this project was picked as one of the winners, and over time developed from being maybe a mobile game or a game of some sorts into this full-fledged upcoming Godzilla anime, or at least Toho took inspiration from this, or again, could just be parallel thinking as the idea of having the powers of Godzilla. I think that's something a lot of Godzilla fans have thought about, including myself. But if this is the basis, that's very cool to find out that these Gemstone projects are still being transformed into fantastic and exciting and potentially very influential Godzilla works. I love that they're taking Godzilla in a new direction. I'm very curious to hear what you guys all think about this. Again, I know that it's actually quite controversial. I've seen a lot of debate as to what people think about this. Some people are very excited about this being a brand new, fresh direction for Godzilla. Other people are like, oh my god, for the love of all things, can an anime series just give us traditional Godzilla action? Again, we have plenty of traditional Godzilla action in the live action space, and the Godzilla animated series from the 90s does a fantastic job showing Godzilla take on all sorts of monsters. There's also wonderful Godzilla comics out there that do a great job capturing this as well, like Godzilla Rulers of Earth. I understand the desire to see stuff like that get adapted into the anime format, but personally, well, those might be in the works at some point. I love that we're getting brand new, fresh, original takes on the IP that are very different from things we've seen in the past. This is what keeps Godzilla fresh, this is what's going to keep Godzilla relevant, and this is what's going to keep Godzilla around in the future and inspire brand new, more traditional Godzilla stories that can pull in the best elements of these bigger swings that were taken along the way. That's what I'm excited about this anime. So, well, I'm not the biggest hero anime fan. I'm a big fan of Ben 10, and that kind of has similar vibes, I guess, with a guy who can turn into monsters. So that's all I need. I'm excited to hear more about this. But what do you think? Comment below and let me know. As always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.